All right, we are recording tailgate talking football. Got the boys here with me, Spence, Sam, and Mason Mohan. Guys, y'all say what's up.
What's up? How we doing, everybody? How we doing?
All right, big weekend college football. Ohio State and Illinois. Does Illinois win it or Ohio State whoop them?
Well, I'll go ahead here as an elder statesman and put my 2 cents out here. I have Ohio State winning this game pretty handily. I feel like Julian Sayin has kind of stepped into a spot where he can kind of manage the offense. There's too many weapons on offense there for Ohio State. The over-under set at 50.5. The line's 14.5 favored on the side of Ohio State. I'm probably going to take the points with Ohio State and expect them to cover. So,
you know, I was looking at this game earlier. I think it's a win for Illinois if they just keep it close. Like two scores, and in a world of moral victories where everybody gets a trophy, the world that we live in today, I think they can count that as a win for them within 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I'm with you, Brock. Not for Illinois winning, but the 14.5 is just I don't see it. I'm seeing 37-17 Ohio State. They win. It's going to be a 2-score game.
Yeah. Go ahead, Sam.
37-17 is 20 points, and that's a 3-score game. Sorry. 27-17.
He's from Piedmont, Alabama. It's all right.
Yeah. Massive, boys.
Well, I'm not a gambling man. I don't get why the over-under is set at 50 in this thing. Ohio State hadn't shown they can score a ton against a Power 5 opponent, but also Illinois is going to try and take the air out of the ball. I think Ohio State wins probably by 2 or 3 scores like we're talking about, but I don't see Illinois scoring more than 10 points. I said earlier 31-10. I could see it being 24-10, somewhere around there.
I mean, how surprised would we be to see a 21-3 Ohio State win? They'll let go and make it 21-10, right? So they've really controlled the game defensively, and they kind of choke you out over four quarters. So
I got Ohio State winning it big, like 35-7.
Well, I'm just looking at what Ohio State's done this year. You know, Minnesota probably we can't judge too much from that, but Texas was 14-7, Washington was 24-6, and I mean, you even look at a game like Ohio. I mean, that's only 37-9. They're not going to put up 40 points. And I think Illinois is going to try and play some ball control, so I can see it being close for a while, and then Ohio State pulling away late.
Ohio State's got the number 1 defense as far as points a game this year. They're giving up 5 points a game. Right? They got a running back named Bo Jackson. He's only got 48 carries on the year, but if they're controlling the game defensively, I expect it to be a little bit lower scoring of a game, and just. I don't think the game will ever be in question, but it'll be, 21-10, 24-10. I like Sam's numbers there.
Going to the next kind of big game, which I think is going to be another blowout. I think Ohio State's going to blow Illinois out, but I think another blowout is Bama at Mizzou. I don't see Missouri even being close. Alabama's on their revenge tour now after the Florida State game, and Ty Simpson is a lot better than people give him credit for at the beginning of the year.
We obviously had that rough start against Florida State, but I think he's really came into his own. Already thrown for 13 touchdowns this year, almost 1,500 yards. Again, Bama's got a lot of weapons. I'm kind of happy with Mizzou's pass rush. I think that could affect Ty Simpson and slow him down a little bit. But I mean, Alabama just got Jam Miller back before that Georgia game. I expect them to be able to run the ball a little bit. Now, do they stick to it, or do they kind of lose their identity on offense and end up with some quick 3-and-outs or short drives because they get too dependent on the pass? That'd be my only concern there. But, I mean, Alabama's favored by 3. That seems like a little bit of that Vegas has kind of set it to be a little bit of some free money. But usually when it's free money, it goes the other way. So this happened in Columbia. I don't think this would be surprising if it's a really close game coming down the stretch.
And that line just changed, didn't it? So yesterday it was 7.5, now it's 2.5, 3. Now
It's 2.5. It's 2.5. It opened at 3. It jumped up. A lot of money went on Bama, caused the line to move, but then it kind of went back down. So right now Alabama's sitting at a 2.5-point favorite. So
Sam, you're our prediction specialist. Go ahead and throw us a prediction.
Well, in my opinion, physicality and Alabama, they didn't realize it earlier this year, but they're the most physical team on the field every time they play. And DeBoer this past weekend kind of impressed me, actually, against Vanderbilt, how patient they were. They let that game play itself out. They took their points, and then they finally just, knocked them out late. I could see it being like that with Missouri. Missouri, I think, might have a little more power from a scoring standpoint than Vanderbilt does. But I think I said 34-20, 34-24, somewhere in there. Just because they're not going to be able to stop the run. I get Missouri can pass rush, but Missouri's always soft on the interior. And if Alabama will stay patient and give Jam the ball, he's a very physical running back, and they can get 5 yards with him when they want it.
And I think the best thing that you said there was if they can stay patient, right? If they can,
Right, yeah.
they can continue to take.
It's hard to stay patient with that many weapons.
It is.
No, I get it, yeah.
is.
Well, you got to keep Ryan Williams and Jeremy Bernard happy. But the only way I see this getting kind of weird is if Bama comes out, maybe has a turnover and Missouri's up 14-0 early or something like that. I could see it getting weird. But if they keep the ball, and if they try to work the running game in and not put everything on Ty Simpson, then I don't think they lose.
Another game coming up that I guess it's a big up north game. It's a big game for college football. The AP polls and the committee has really no idea what they're doing right now. Texas isn't ranked, but before we get to that, Indiana and Oregon, I know I've said blowout the first 2 games, but I think Oregon comes in and mops the floor with them.
No. I think it's going to be closer than y'all think, honestly. Indiana's good. I think Indiana's good, and I'm at 34-24, Oregon. They cover the spread barely.
And I'd go a little bit farther to say, Oregon's a 7.5-point favorite right now. I think Indiana covers. I don't know really right now what to think about Oregon, mainly because I don't really know what to think about Penn State, right? We can go transitive property and, these teams that we think are okay, and then we think these teams are really good, and then they end up, having a lackadaisical loss or a close win that shouldn't be anywhere. The opponent shouldn't be in the ball game. I just don't know what to think about Oregon right now. I like Sigs inside. Kurt Signetti, I think he's a good football coach. Obviously, Dan Lanning's probably the best coach right now in college football.
I'd run through a wall for Dan Lanning.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would. I think Kurt Signetti's another guy that can get his team playing the right way. But again, what do you think about Indiana? Who have they played that we say is a proven team with NFL talent on it that does things the right way?
And their head coach has the tendency to talk a little bit too.
For sure. But, Mendoza's up there in the Heisman rankings. I think they take care of the football a good bit. I expect this to be Indiana running the football a little bit better than others would expect. They're 6th in the country right now in rushing yards a game with almost 270. Another top 5 defense. They're 3rd in the country in points against with 9.6 points given up per game. So now, again, they've been playing high school teams, but, they still got to take care of business. I expect this to be more like a 27-24 game Saturday.
Sam?
My stance on this has changed just a tick. I think Oregon still beats them. And I think, I don't think it's ever in question. But Indiana, winning at Iowa that's incredibly hard to do, especially when you have the target on their back like they do because of Signetti's comments, but also just Iowa being Iowa. So I think I said 38-15 earlier, something like that, 38-14. I still think it's around a 27-14 kind of deal because Lanning's going to have a good game plan. But Mendoza, I mean, we saw him when he faced Auburn last year. That guy's not a bad quarterback. And if he can keep the ball and not turn it over, then, I mean, Indiana's going to be in the game. But I think Oregon's just overall going to be more physical, going to have a better defense, and I think they win by 14.
I personally think Oregon gets 2 early interceptions and shuts the whole thing down. Now you can think whatever, but that's just now one that I don't know. You know, I have no idea who I'm going to pick. What I want to pick is Oklahoma at Texas. I mean, it's arguably people from Oklahoma and people from Texas are going to argue and say this is bigger than the Iron Bowl.
They're wrong.
They're obviously very wrong, but
they don't have to live with each other all year.
Mason actually went to the Red River rivalry game.
Any game that's played at a neutral site has zero argument for matching up with Iron Bowl.
Mo, you went there. What was it like?
In the Iron Bowl, you're mixed in. You could be sitting right beside an Alabama fan,
Yeah.
and at halftime, you catch a right hook out of nowhere. I've seen it. But I went to the Texas-Oklahoma game 2 years ago, and it's there. Like, the rivalry is definitely there, but it's nowhere near an Iron Bowl. Nowhere near it. But I'll stay on this game and say, if Mateer is back, there's no reason to not pick Oklahoma winning this game. I say 28-17 Oklahoma. Thank you.
And I think my biggest takeaway from Oklahoma and Texas is going to be the under. The under right now is at 45.5 over under. So I'm probably going to hammer the absolute under on that. Look, I don't think Texas has a clue what they're doing on offense when Arch is put under pressure. I think Oklahoma may have the best front seven in the country. Oklahoma statistically has given up the second least amount of points per game. Texas is at fifth, right? I think John Mateer does a lot to carry Oklahoma's offense. I'm really not super impressed with what they do offensively. I'm probably going to take Oklahoma minus 1.5. Probably winning by a field goal. This could be a 16-13 game with some field goals on the board.
You know, Oklahoma might win it big if see how many times they can sneak a player on the field.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, if Mateer's not playing, I think Texas is going to win by 3 scores. That Hawkins kid is not that good. He doesn't run the Oklahoma offense. He can't do a precise pass, which is what Mateer killed Auburn with. If Mateer's playing, it opens everything up. I watched Texas last week get blown off the ball by Florida. Okay, Oklahoma, I think, could do the same thing. I like the 28-17. I'd hover around there just because Oklahoma, we know their defense is complex. It's going to throw some stuff at Arch Manning. But also, Texas doesn't know what they want to do. They don't know if they want to try and run the ball with Arch. They don't know if they want to go down the field with Arch. They hadn't made their identity up yet. And now when they discover that, I think they could be really good, and it could be this game. But just going off of how everything's been going, I'd say 24-17, around there for Oklahoma.
You know, I've got a pretty big gut, and strictly going off a gut feeling, give me the Longhorns in that one. Speaking of Florida, whooping Texas last week, Florida has another top 10 team, top 5 team. They're going to Texas A&M. And look, I'm telling you, Florida is my sleeper team of the SEC. They did it last year. They sucked when they first started, and they got better and got better and got better. Florida, when you're hot, and I think the Gators are hot. I'm chomping all day. Give me Florida over Texas A&M by 10 points. Actually, I late game field goal to win it. Florida wins.
I'm with you, and that spread's 7.5 A&M's way, right? 7.5.
That's right.
I'm going 27-20 Florida. I think Lagway's going to turn it around after Texas.
The only thing that's hurting them is it's at Kyle Field, but who cares?
It's really not. Come on.
They have yell leaders in overalls. Who cares?
Cheerleaders in overalls doesn't intimidate anybody.
I don't even know how that gets you hyped up.
1,000 people there in College Station, but at the end of the day, can Lagway stop turning the ball over? I mean, that's a big question. Can Marcel Reed complete a forward pass? that's another question. I think A&M will be able to line up and run the football on Florida, but just if the pass rush get after Marcel Reed, get him outside the pocket. When he gets outside the pocket, is he scrambling and taking the first down? Is he trying to make an aggressive play and makes mistakes? I like Florida in this one to cover the 7.5. I think it's going to be a close game. I'm thinking a 24-20 here in favor of A&M.
Look, I do not get the Florida hype. Now, if they win this, I will be on the train. But they haven't shown me anything on the road. And I think we're giving them a little too much credit for beating Texas. I don't think Texas is that good of a football team this year. I believe Florida might hang around, but I think A&M wins this game. And, again, I'm not a gambling man, but A&M's going to, I think, cover that spread. I think A&M wins by 14, and I think the over hits because A&M, when they want to, can turn it up on offense like we saw at Notre Dame. And if Florida decides to try and throw the ball all around, I think they'll turn it over. They might score some, but A&M wins this thing. I'd say something around 31-21, 35-21, somewhere A&M wins.
Sam's only pulling for.
We need to be more specific about what we mean is a good football team and a talented football team. I don't think Florida's good. I don't think Texas is good, but I think they're very talented.
Their roster is scary enough and talented enough to beat you, though.
That's right. And so I think a good football team is a talented team that plays consistently. And I don't think Florida plays consistently enough to be considered a good football team, but I do think they're talented enough to, when they are right, they're sticking around with teams who are really good or beating teams who are pretty good. So that's why I got Florida covering the 7.5, but I still think Texas A&M wins home.
Well, Sam's picking Texas A&M because he told me a couple years ago if he didn't go play Division I baseball, he's trying out on the Yale squad.
That's crazy.
He ended up going and playing baseball at Jacksonville State, but he had the overalls picked out and everything.
That's ridiculous.
Hey, speaking of talented teams that are inconsistent but can win the big ones, I'm calling it right now, 1:53 p.m., Friday, October 10th, when it's 24-10, going into the fourth quarter, and you hear, man, I got that swag, and the lights cut off, and they cut back on, they cut back on, they cut back on, and everybody's swag surfing, and Auburn, Jordan-Hare's bumping at night. Give me Auburn 31-17, beating Georgia just like 2017.
I appreciate that. You know, I'm an Auburn fan through and through. But from what I've seen, the sad faces out of Hugh Freeze that I'm just tired of seeing, the sad faces everywhere in Auburn, like, I really just have lost a lot of hope for it right now. We got the talent, like you said. We got the talent. We got the environment. But Jordan-Hare can only do so much. It can only do so much to win a football game. But when it comes down to it, the spread being 3.5, that's too close. That's too close for Hugh Freeze. He doesn't win tight games. It just doesn't happen. But I'm going to go Georgia at 24, Auburn at 21. Georgia takes it.
I'm saying we sneak up and beat them like we did Texas A&M last year. Anyway, sorry, Spence. You and Sam, go ahead.
Spence, go ahead. Well, look, obviously,
we're all going to be down there.
We're huge Auburn fans. We're going to be down there. It's going to be great. It's going to be a great environment. I think Auburn's defense plays their absolute tails off. I think they're going to be the reason that this game is competitive. Obviously, when you have a defense playing their butt off, the crowd usually gets into that. But there's also some frustrations with the offense. You know, there's multiple frustrations. It's the inconsistency in the offensive play and the play calling. Like, do we say, hey, we've proven we can run the football. Now, why don't we line up and run the football consistently? Let's get creative, running the football outside, in between the tackles, inside zone. I mean, we've been lining up Singleton in the backfield out of some orbit motion. But at the end of the day, if Cobb and Austin are not getting their carries, I feel like we're going to have to prove that Georgia isn't what they have been up front. So I think Auburn could be able to run the football if they stick to it.
Did y'all see what?
There's also the argument that you also have Ken Coleman on your team, who I think is the second best receiver in college football. and we're not targeting him. We're not targeting him down the field. Now, some of that, do we have the time to throw it? Is there indecisiveness in throwing the football down there? But if Cam Coleman is in a one-on-one situation, it's never a 50-50 ball. He always has a better chance to make a play on that football than the defensive back.
Yeah, he's 6'3", 6'4", can jump out of the gym.
We just have to enable that, though. We got to enable that. We got to run. Like I said, we got to run the football.
Did y'all see the post that Auburn made on? It was either Facebook or Twitter, and it was it was Auburn at Auburn. It said the SEC, it had the SEC logo on the field, and it said "Run period, the period, ball period." And that cracked me up. Everybody, we have to run the freaking ball.
Well, yeah, I mean Auburn's history of running backs. I mean, Auburn has a deep tradition of running the football. I mean, you called back earlier with 2017 Auburn versus Georgia. What did that offense do? Run. They turned around and handed it to
Kerryon Johnson, baby.
Right. Right. Now, but you also have a parallel because earlier in the year, in 2017, we played 4 quarterbacks against Clemson. If you want to count,
No, that's 16. That's 16.
Listen to the guy who knows. Hey, I will say this. One more thing about Auburn University, and they're going to have Cam Newton retiring his jersey. I don't see Auburn losing this game. Go ahead, Sam.
Look, Jordan-Hare, I love the place. Everybody can say what they want. Jordan-Hare has not been a tough place to play for road teams since 2019. I get A&M lost there last year. But if Jordan-Hare was such a tough place to play, they wouldn't have blown a 2-score lead against Oklahoma in the fourth quarter last year. They wouldn't have lost to Vandy at home. They're doing too much blowing leads at home for it to be just the toughest place in the world. Okay? Now, it's going to be tough. It's going to be a lot tougher on Georgia than it would be in Athens. But at the end of the day, there's 2 things that are going to cause this game to go Georgia's way. First is Auburn's going to do something stupid from a coaching perspective. He's either going to try and run the ball too much, and it's going to turn into a slugfest, and Auburn's got no shot if it turns into a slugfest. Or, in my opinion, everything is going to be going fine. And Mohan, you brought up a good point talking about Freeze's faces. Okay, think about the games Auburn's had a lead in, and then one thing goes bad, quarterback comes off the field, and Freeze is just the illest person on the planet. When Thorne misses a pass when you're up 2 scores against Oklahoma, that's not the time to be giving a butt to it. Because then all of a sudden he's lacking confidence, and he's going to throw a pick 6 the next drive, and you're going to blow the football game. So in my opinion, Freeze doesn't have the maturity to win a game like this. So I'd say 24-14 Georgia, somewhere around there.
Well, look, guys, I appreciate y'all answering the call. Tomorrow night, when that fourth quarter comes, and Auburn's up 24-10, and you're swagging and you're surfing, I want you to look up in the sky, them beautiful fireworks, and I want you to think, man, Brock called this. Brock called 24-10, and we're swag surfing. Come Monday, or next Friday when we talk again, we're all going to be thinking Auburn's back. If Auburn wins this game, we're going to be 9-2 going into the Iron Bowl.
That is true. I hope you're right, Brock.
That
would be nice. I really hope you're right. One point, obviously, we picked 6 games.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. 6 games. Just saying, if you follow my picks, Alabama to cover the 3, Ohio State to cover the 14.5, Indiana to cover the +7, Oklahoma to cover the 1, Florida +7.5, and Georgia -3.5. $10 pays out $410 in a parlay. So cash them out. Let me know if it misses. Don't come at me.
I'm gonna need you to text me that so I can join in on it. I've never bet before, but you saying that $10 for $400 something sounds like a no-brainer to me. I'm going strictly off of gut feeling. You know, I got, like I said earlier, got a big gut. It's led me well in this life so far. I'm going Ohio State, big win. Bama, big win. Oregon, big win. Texas, I think I got the Longhorns. Horns up on this one. Florida, we're going to be chomping at Kyle Field. Florida Gators. And then give me the War Eagles, baby. Auburn University, 31-17. All right, guys. Hey, see y'all tomorrow. I'm sure I'll be having the time of my life. And if you're not having a good day or you're not in a good mood, please don't come talk to me. All right, see y'all.
That's right. All right. That's right. Appreciate it.